You're destroying your family. You know who I feel bad for? Your kids. That's who deserves sympathy. We are finally here with the Mina and Jordan fight. Culture shock for Maddie and Sarper, and it just doesn't get any better for the chaos of the thruple. But we will get to all that. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you want to support the channel, drop a super thanks. Y'all are amazing for all the support you give. Thank you so much. Let's get right into it because the reality is this show, it's just chaos wrapped in madness, all about one giant enigma of what the heck is going on and why do these couples continue to try to make it work. The answer is probably money, but either way, it's entertaining, so let's get right into it.
She would be detained. You know that?
Yeah,
Because-
usually they
Why
detain
is
me
that?
because of all my surgeries. I don't look like my passport anymore.
Okay, so first off, we know damn well that she's got a bunch of surgeries, but if you were to the point of they can't even recognize you because of your surgeries, and I mean, if you look at her face, you could tell she's had all kinds of surgeries, and we've seen her, what'd she have? She had, I don't even remember which one it was, facelift, eye lift, some sort of lift, some sort of suction, I don't know, but she had one while we were following it on the show. Either way, she clearly looks like she's straight out of LA with all the surgeries, so I don't blame him for pulling her over and like, this ain't you, lady.
You're
Dream
going
nightmare.
to America.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Ah.
You've been.
He can't hide his enthusiasm, that Sarper. Like, she's all happy and he's like, little skeptical. And you know what? Rightfully so. He basically acquiesced to what she wanted, which is fine if y'all decide on it, but he's clearly struggling right now. I think he'll come around though.
She came to Turkey
yes.
7 times. And
7.
she took that flight 14 times.
Good Lord.
I mean, she really loves me.
She really does.
I would never do that.
He's like, she must really love me because she would never do that. And let me tell you, I've been on a 14-hour flight, and it is tough, especially when you're not a wealthy person, so you're flying coach. You know, I mean, I'm sure if you can fly first class, you know, it's a little more comfortable. But 14-hour flight in coach, especially when you're a little bit taller, like myself, it's a little tough. And he looks like he's a little bit taller, so yeah, that's a tough flight. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Culture
He's a
shock.
self-proclaimed alpha male, which I think will make it really hard
Yeah.
for him to live in my home
Why?
under my terms.
Okay, see right there what you said, you're already not taking this seriously. Live under my home, under my terms. The same way you were living in his home because you made it about your terms. This is going to be the problem. He is over here on a fiancé visa with the promise of going to marry you. You need to have some compromise. You need to have communication. That is not your home now. That is both of your home. I understand your name's on the lease, your name's on the mortgage, whatever it is. But if you want to take this seriously, you need to make it you and his home. If you do not, this is not going to last. So if you're not a serious person, which she very well may not be, then fine. But if you're really serious about the relationship, then time to take it seriously and treat it like it's both of your home. But we will see how she doesn't actually do that.
Around the fire, and there are like murder weapons all around them, like axes, saws, and everything.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is just country living. Like, I don't know if I know he doesn't know this. Again, culture shock. That's what we're seeing with, especially Sarper and Maddie here. But this is just country living. This is the old Alabama, North Carolina, Georgia, you know, small town, country, rural living. You got chainsaws and axes everywhere. But if you're from another country or from somewhere else or from the big city, you've never been to another country, and you see that, you're like, oh my God, it's what every horror movie I've ever seen. A little bit of stereotype there, but, you know, I have family members in small towns, so I think it's hilarious because it's absolutely true. Yeah.
This is a great opportunity for her and Mina to maybe kind of try to find some common ground here and bond a little bit.
Yeah,
So
good luck
I'm
with
hopeful that happens.
You're hopeful, sure, but I am not so much hopeful. I think that this is just going to lead to a clash, and he is just very optimistic for no reason. And we'll see why he shouldn't be optimistic. And it's his own doing. He is actually, what we find out from him is that he's a bigger part of the problem than has been let on.
I don't know if I'll foresee a job that.
It's just like the rest of the family. What do you mean?
So this is the problem from Mina's end because she's not really trying to give Jordan a shot. But we will see that all of them are part of the problem on some level. Now, Mina is clearly not in it for the right reasons. She hasn't been from day one. That will never change. Sorry, but she clearly saw an opportunity and took it. She is clearly in it for the money and status and all that great stuff that comes along with what he's got going on. But he also is not making good calls, and Jordan is not making good calls. There are not really any innocent parties in this.
I told her about the jacuzzi
What?
when we were.
What?
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right here. So they had their argument the other night. Mina was completely wrong. Mina took it to a whole nother level. But that does not mean that he needs to take it and go to his adult daughter and talk about the issues in his relationship, even though he shouldn't be in this relationship to begin with. So this is where he's messing up. For some reason, he thinks he needs to go to his adult daughter to vent. No, that is not what you do in a relationship, even if you're not 60 plus years old. And he's acting like he's like some young kid. This is what I always talk about with these different shows is they act like they're in high school relationships. Even the oldest of the old on these shows act like they're in high school. It's ridiculous. None of them are mature, and that's what it boils down to.
I'm very serious about Mark.
And rightfully so.
Il doit comprendre qu'il y a des conversations privées.
Yes, 100%. You're going to find something odd in this, in that I am going to agree with Mina. 100%. When you're talking about relationships, there are conversations that are not meant to be shared. That's just the way it is. With friends, with family, when you're in a marriage, in a relation, and I know they're not in a marriage yet, but that's where they're supposed to be going. So when you're in a long-term relationship, there are things that you keep private to your relationship. He didn't do that, and for some reason, he thought it was a good idea to share it with his daughter. I don't know how to tell him this, but him and the mother, got divorced. There's probably some trauma there. We don't know why they got divorced, and we don't need to know why. But she's probably acting like she's hurt, almost like she's a teenager again, and she's acting out on that and acting out these childish behaviors. So him making a stupid decision to go and say, oh my gosh, Mina just threw a tantrum in the hot tub to his daughter, is weird, bizarre, and childish behavior.
I touch her, play with her, but she's no, not today, not tonight, please,
but what's
no more.
What madness is gonna happen with this one? It couldn't possibly go wrong, could it?
After that, I have sex with Matt.
And it all starts to implode. Now, let's see how quickly the thruple just completely unravels now that they're starting to do things when the other is not present. Now, in this case, it was, Amani felt sick and, she fell asleep, and then they decided, well, this party ain't going to stop. So this is where it was always going to be an issue. And oh, by the way, his wife talks about having a jealousy problem. So let's see how quickly she unravels once she finds out about this.
More. Every moment matters when you're in.
Also, interesting tidbit, if you look at them when they're sitting there, look at how close he is to her, the girlfriend, the one that just entered the thruple, and the wife is so far distant. Now, I understand, Aunt Annie, spelled Annie, but Ani, I think, has her hand on Amani's leg there. You see that. But the issue is you see how close he is to her. This looks more like they are the husband and wife rather than Amani is the wife. So, if you see how this is already starting to fracture, the writing's kind of on the wall. Now, I don't think that they're going to actually run off together, the husband and Annie, because the reality is that Amani makes all the money. She said that. She's the breadwinner in the relationship. So, somehow I guess that Ani isn't going to run off with him. Maybe she's just having her fun, but it's all going to fall apart either way.
You are my friend.
What?
Matt is my boyfriend.
It's just, the hits keep on coming. So she has told her brother that Matt is the boyfriend and that Amani is the friend. And they go on to talk about it a little bit. And is it because you're with a girl? No, not really. I think I can explain being with you, or I think I can explain being with him, but a thruple? Yeah, because they'll probably look at that and say, are you crazy? This is just some crazy fetish that ain't ever going to work out. Which is true.
It's triggering to be hit.
Oh, give me a break with this. You were all about it. You pushed your husband into this whole thing, and now it's triggering for you? She is the biggest fake I think I've ever seen. Talking about the whole thing was he was skeptical of this relationship, skeptical of going into it. He didn't want to. He's like, I don't know how that will work. She pushed him into it. She had to have this. But now that she is being described as the third wheel, it's triggering for her. And she wants to talk about her traumas from the past. Give me a break with your BS, with your BS buzzword lingo that you're trying to use to get people to feel bad for you. Nobody should feel bad for her. You're destroying your family. You know who I feel bad for? Your kids. That's who deserves sympathy.
He's Catholic.
Oh,
My
okay.
father go every day to the church.
Okay. Her family is Catholic, but her dad goes to church every day. But it's not going to be a problem saying she wants to be with a girl or a married man. The problem is going to be when it comes to the thruple. Somehow I guess that you're kind of stretching what your family might accept or not accept, because that doesn't really make sense. You're going to claim the religion angle, but also say they don't care if you're with a woman, or they don't care if you're with a married man, they don't care you're a stripper dancing for dollars. They don't care about any of that, but they might care if you're in a thruple? Something don't add up here. Why did you cheat?
I guess I felt lonely.
Okay.
I'm human.
Yep. True.
How many more
He made a
times are you going to
mistake.
be human?
Okay, this is ridiculous at face value, because why is he explaining himself to her friends? If she forgave him, the girlfriend, they're not, the girl, fiance, if she forgave him and they talked about this has nothing to do with her friends. The reality is she should be jumping in right now and saying, look, I love you both, you're my friends, but this doesn't concern y'all. We talked about it. I didn't tell y'all because it was our business. There's no reason you should be getting upset. We're okay. If she leaves him, that's up to her. If they've worked it out, that's up to them. He owes no explanation to friends.
You're my best friend, Jess.
Why are you crying?
Like, I love you more than anything.
I love
in my
you more.
life.
This is weird.
I think.
This is why I protect you.
This is weird. Okay. I love you more than anything, Jess. Like, what? And she says, this is why I protect you. You don't owe your friends an explanation. This is the problem, especially with girl groups and friends, because one girl will run to friends and say something. Maybe it's a giant thing. Maybe their boyfriend did something horrible. Maybe he cheated. Maybe he's abusive, whatever. And great, then maybe they give some good advice. But then you have minor things also, when it just blows up and it becomes something it shouldn't be. Now, this is not a minor thing, but at the same time, she had no right to know. If they decided that they were going to talk it out, her friend had no reason to know. So her crying about it right now is ridiculous. And it should have never been a situation that she ran to, because let me guess on this one, she would have blown it up and made it something that maybe it shouldn't have been. And maybe it would have ended their relationship when they didn't want to. That's something for them to work out, not the friends.
I was as well.
Oh.
I
Hello.
found myself kind of catching feelings for like an ex-boyfriend,
Did you now? You caught a few feelings there?
but they were never anything that I acted on.
Okay. Now look at the face. She's lying. She's lying. She did more than just caught feelings for a boyfriend. And it gets interesting throughout the episode as a little more information is added. So it becomes a little bit more than just, I caught feelings for a boyfriend at the same time. So I think she did more. I think she cheated, and yet she's not fessing up to it because she hasn't been caught and no one's brought it to light. So she wants to hold him accountable for not coming up and saying, oh, you didn't admit to it and you only fessed up when you were caught. But in reality, she hasn't been caught yet, so she's not fessing up. But she sure as hell looks guilty.
Comme Jordan, il est fâché.
Since Jordan is already angry,
raison, je
I'll
vais
make her
m'habiller
more
très
angry. I'm
sexy.
going to dress very sexy. Oh, see, you know what the sad part is you might think that's a little snark, a little joke, but she would actually do it. She would actually poke the bear, stoke the flames of the fire by dressing sexy, which would be ridiculous when you're talking about family. Like, there's no reason to do any of that. And yet she would do it. So that's just petty BS. That's why I say none of them are innocent in this.
Serious. I don't want to be late again for Jordan.
C'est not my fault.
It's not my fault.
One of the reasons Jordan is skeptical of Mina is because she was 3 hours late to the baptism for...
Actually, she claims it was 4, so I think you're downplaying it. But again, now she's being late again, and she's doing this for no reason other than to be petty, because she wants to, show who's boss here. I can do what I want. And guess what that does? That's just going to inflame the situation, which seems like a fantastic idea. But Mina doesn't care, which is why I say she's wrong. Well, many reasons why she's wrong, many reasons why he's wrong, and Jordan is wrong too. None of them are good.
To be honest, now she's here in America, so it's a lot more real. Like, you don't expect to see your dad, at this age, having and playing with a baby.
Yeah. And this is what I was saying about them. This is why I think a big part of what's going on here is some unresolved feelings that Jordan has about the divorce, about however their relationship was. Maybe he cheated on their mom. I don't know. But either way, she probably still is feeling like she reverts back to that childhood form when it comes to things like this. That's why she's a grown woman here acting like a child. Now, does it make it right? No. And if she thought she was going to be like this, there's no reason for her to be there. And especially bring your boyfriend. I mean, I feel bad for Gabe. That's the one I feel bad for in this. But she is definitely has some feelings still about the divorce. I don't know when it happened, but whenever it did, she's still got some stuff, unresolved conflict there.
This isn't what I would have envisioned or wanted for our family.
Okay, it's not your decision, Jordan. This is why I say she is a fault too. Aside from acting like a perpetual child that has no say in this relationship, she's also saying, inserting herself into it, saying, it's not what I would have wanted for our family. It's not your call. Now, it's one thing, I think it's perfectly reasonable for her to say, Dad, I don't know if this is the best decision. These are kind of the red flags. She might be using you for your money. And, it's possible that she's trying to trap you with another child. I think those are all reasonable things to say. But her to say, I would not want this outcome for our family. You're not a child anymore, Jordan. You live in Florida. Your dad has his life. You may not agree with it, but you don't have a say. Time for you to put down the control stick because it's not yours. Now, should Mina control it? No. Mark should step up and actually have a backbone.
So have you noticed any kind of difference between the two?
Oh my God.
I'll tell you, the mother is not a good source of information when it comes to any of this and is not going to be good for advice. And we'll see why in just a minute.
I'm trying to get clear with everything in my life.
Okay.
And until I feel like I'm super clear, then why give anybody else a reason to start poking holes in?
Well, if you're that unsure, if you're so unsure of your relationship, because yes, it was a drastic change when you suggested that Douglas put on a wig at a parade, and then all of a sudden a lot of this change came about. So there's a lot of moving parts here. And for you to say you're not sure of anything, but that's why I don't want to tell anybody, that's kind of your answer right there. You brought someone here on a 90-day fiancé visa, and you're still unsure, so much so that you don't tell your adult kids even of the presence or even of Aaliyah being here. That's a problem, and you seem to be answering your own question, but not listening to yourself.
I'm hoping that the children will realize that this is Sean's life, that he deserves more than anybody.
She is an awful mother. Awful, 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 awful mother. Because she's already trying to draw a wedge between Sean and his kids by saying they create drama and they need to realize that this is Sean's life. Yes, it is Sean's life. He can do what he wants with his life. But she is in essence saying he should not even talk to his kids about it. And because of that, she is basically putting on blinders because you know what she is? She's the mom who took 2 Xanax, drank a whole box of wine during the day and said, do whatever you want, Sean, and had no boundaries. That's who she is. I can tell right now, especially because Sean said, I don't know many older ladies that can go to the strip club and drop a bunch of money. Yeah, your mom was not a mother. She let you do whatever the hell you want, and now she's alienating her grandkids. This is a problem. No one is going to be sitting here saying, Sean, maybe look at X, Y, and Z for red flags. And that's a big, big deal.
The 3 of them are going to get together and they are going to be going, oh.
My dad's crazy.
Okay, but maybe you are crazy. You haven't told anyone. That's an issue. And you have their grandma saying, the 3 of them are going to get together like this. And they're going to say, oh, like maybe they say, Dad, maybe you want to think this through. But she doesn't even want them to do that. It's like if anyone says any negative comment about anything going on, like, I don't know, bringing someone over, having to marry them within 90 days when you're so unsure of it, that's not a problem? You don't think that might be something that take into consideration? No, this is why I say his mother is awful. And his mother raised him in a way where he wouldn't have any boundaries, and that's pretty clear the way she's acting now. Or later in life she decided he should be able to do what he wants and will never say anything negative, and that's the way to do things. Either way, it's awful no matter what. Guarantee she was the day drinker, whole box of wine, Xanax, all that good stuff.
I had him come over and we hung out as friends. We never...
Okay, hold on. First it went to, I just, caught feelings briefly. Now it was, I had him come over and we hung out as friends. You see how this story's already evolving? And Juan is pretty adamant that you never said it was your boyfriend. Now he knew you caught feelings for a guy. He said he knew that. but he never knew it was an ex-boyfriend, and he certainly didn't know anything about this. So now she's trying to flip it around on him and make it seem like, oh, you're just trying to use this to justify your behavior, which does not make sense considering they've already litigated this out between themselves and supposedly gone to the road for forgiveness. This would make no sense for him to bring it back at all. So now she's just trying to cover up her bad behavior, which I guarantee was cheating.
Next time I go to Colombia, I'm gonna tell my ex-girlfriend to come while I'm alone.
I mean, he's got a point here. She would never be okay with that. Now, she's just going to say it was a point we were distant for sure and all that was going on, which is also a different time. I get that part. But, you know, she would never be okay with him hanging out with an ex-girlfriend. The ex-boyfriend part does matter.
I feel like Juan's kind of being a hypocrite because I forgave him
okay.
easily, and I feel like what he did was pretty severe.
That makes no sense. He's not being the hypocrite here. You are. Because the fact is we just found out that y'all talked this out a year and a half ago, and he admitted to it. Now, your argument is, yeah, when he was caught, okay, but it was still a year and a half ago. It would make no sense for him to bring it back now. You just got caught having left out details that matter when y'all were supposedly coming clean about things. So who's the hypocrite? It's really more you in this situation.
Yesterday, when he just leave, he had sex with me.
Oh, hello. The face said, told you so. Absolutely, without fail, told you. Because this is exactly what was going to happen the whole time. That face says it all. Of course, she has words to say about it, but it is very clear that she is not okay with that. But yet, she sure acts like it's okay for her to do what she wants. So this is where it becomes very, very interesting.
Even if you thought I heard or I knew, for you to come tell me, like, hey, is it okay if I do this? I would have said it's okay.
Okay, 100% she is not going to ask permission from him to be with the girl herself if they're alone. Guarantee it. There is going to be no permission asked. But she wants him to ask permission, even though they were right beside each other in the bed. Now, this whole thing is a nightmare. This is like the worst scenario you should be doing. All of them are crazy. It's never going to last. Let my stance be clear. Thruple, no. Bad, bad, bad. Stay away from it, because at this point, you're just trying to keep a fetish alive. That's it. That's all it is. But we just have to critique this because it's the best train wreck of all.
To a mini, as if I was the one hiding something, just makes me feel like they're ganging up on me.
They absolutely are. Of course they're ganging up on you. What did you think was going to happen? When you let her manipulate you to change from the accurate position you had of, this might not be a good idea, to, well, okay, why not? There's two of them. Sure. That's when you became an idiot. Of course, you already are kind of an idiot, but that even made you more of an idiot. So now you're like, what? She made me feel guilty? Of course, she's manipulative. This is what she does. She manipulated you to bring another girl in the relationship because she wanted to play out her bisexuality while still keeping you and the family alive. None of that was going to ever be successful, but you let it take place instead of saying, this is a bad idea. No.
God. I mean, first I thought it's a dog, but what is this?
What is this? It's a house cow. That is the greatest and most horrible thing I've ever heard of. And his name is Ribeye. That's fantastic. You get a cow and you name it Ribeye. There's also another one, which they named Brisket. I think that's just fantastic. That made me literally laugh out loud.
Welcome to your new house, babe.
Yay, except it's not really his house, is it?
There's a lot of facial stuff here, obviously, because I'm also working from home.
This does not look like an apartment. This looks like an actual studio. Now, as she gets in and talks about how things are going to be in the apartment, you will see that she treats it more like her business than she does her home. But when she said she works at home, you think, oh, she's got some stuff here. She literally has probably multiple thousands of dollars in equipment for facials and all this kind of stuff, like you would see at like a doctor's office. This looks insane. And she does have some serious regulations for Sarper on it.
So this is the kitchen, but we can't really cook like food here because...
What? You can't really cook food here?
No, because it makes the place smell funny.
So basically you don't cook anything here, not breakfast. We can't cook here. But her solution is, oh, you can go and order that cooked anywhere and they'll just have it to you. Like, You live in this small apartment. I understand California is ridiculous for prices, so you're probably paying $3,500, $4,000 a month for this small apartment to keep as your home office. But yet, your solution is to just go buy it. Just spend $20 or $30 for them to bring you scrambled eggs instead of just making it in your house. Now, I understand eggs are expensive now, but they're a lot more expensive if you're ordering them from a restaurant. Good solution, Shekinah, if you ever want to get out and try to make a business somewhere else. But no, because clearly you don't have a basic concept of budgeting.
Okay, if you go to a visit, you can deal with it, but if it's your life, it's too much. And she didn't tell me.
This is the problem, is she just hit him with, you have to leave whenever I have a client here, and yet she didn't tell him any of this. So he's in a place he doesn't know, he's not able to work for a period of time. Where's he going to go? And she's saying, oh, by the way, you have to leave when I have clients. And he accurately says, she didn't tell me this. And oh, but you can't cook there, you can't do all these things, all these rules. It's not his apartment, he's not being made to feel like it's his home. So why would he feel welcomed in this place?
But then I realized it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Women are not properties.
See, Maddie talks about how he was brought up and how he doesn't see it that way, or how women are property. Stevie's dad had a reasonable concern about this, considering that mostly what you see on the news is how the Iranian government is awful and how they do these awful things, which is true. Doesn't mean it's the same thing for the Iranian people. And so this conversation needed to be had, and it was a reasonable one and came out in a reasonable manner. As far as we're seeing so far, Maddie's going to be a good person for Stevie. I think Stevie might have some concerns or be a concern to Maddie. I'm interested to see about that.
Do you know what all this is? He don't know, I'm sure.
I just know this mac and cheese, right?
Mac and cheese, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how we see. This is why it's going to be a problem for Maddie, because he likes to eat, and this is what we do when we have kind of things in the South and have people over. Big platters of food, barbecue, mac and cheese, greens, biscuits, rolls, all that great stuff, delicious food that ain't great for the waistline.
We have a lot of it.
Yeah.
Your six-pack is going to be fading soon.
Yeah.
I know that.
He's like, I absolutely know this because I love this stuff. It's going to be a problem. It's like every month this one ab is going to disappear into flab. Ab to flab. He's going to do a new video. Ab to flab, the way to eat great.
Do you love each other?
Well, what I want to know is, when the hell did Weston Cage show up to this gathering? And if you don't know, look up Nicolas Cage's son. You'll be like, yeah, when did he show up to this gathering? But you know what? He did ask a decent question. Do you love each other? And Maddie had a decent response of basically, I've never loved anyone the way I love Stevie. And he looked really sincere when he said it. So I think, at least at this point, Maddie is seeming really sincere. Could that change? Sure. But as of right now, he seems like he's here for the right reasons.
What I've seen so far, I mean, seems to be a nice, genuine guy.
Yes, 100%. And that's really good, because that was the concern. And you know what? The thing is her dad and Maddie were both set up, because the reality is Maddie thought that her dad was told. She didn't tell her dad until right before he got there. So both of them were shell-shocked, and both of them were like, look, it's kind of reasonable she did this. It was her fault. So she shouldn't have done it like that. She had all these excuses, but in reality, she should have just been honest up front. And her dad's like, look, I don't know if I'm ready to give my blessing for marriage yet, but he seems like a nice guy and he's here for the right reasons. There you go. The best outcome you could have had right now. Oh, she can't even do a s'more right. She didn't burn the marshmallow. She didn't do half of the Hershey bar. She did a little tiny part of the Hershey bar. Like, you're trying to showcase America and you can't even do a s'more right. You are a shame to your country heritage. What is wrong with you? Can't even do a damn s'more right. My God.
If I go back and there's a chance that I can never come back, or there's a chance that I could be hurt. But
look at how she said it. You notice how she was trying to say what Maddie said, but she came off with some sarcasm with it, like making it say that that's how he said it. This is the problem with telling people stuff after the fact and getting stuff out of your relationship and telling someone else. That bothered her. So when she tells people about it, she comes off as having sarcasm with it, which makes people think that's how Maddie said it. When in reality, all he said is, if I feel lonely and I want to go back to Iran, would you be okay with that? That's how he said it, just like that. And he, knowing that, obviously she may not be able to come back because of issues with the government and things like that, sure, but he didn't say it any kind of way. He asked her if she would be okay with that, basically saying, if I'm homesick and I want to go home to visit my family. Now, when she says it, she's like, Mom, guess what he said? He said, if I want to go back and I can't, like she might as well put her hand up and wave it all around and do all this because that's how she looks. Body language is important. Body language shows a lot. She is not doing a good job right now, and she is doing her relationship a disservice.
You were like 4 hours late to the party, and that was the whole reason we were even in Paris.
Yeah.
You never apologized to any of us for being
Because
that
for
late.
for me, it's normal.
No. She says you're 4 hours late to the party and we're there for the baptism of your child and you're 4 hours late and we're all there with her child. And she says, for me, that's normal. So it's normal for you to be extremely rude to your guests? No, she did that on purpose, 100%, which is why I say, look, I may have agreed with Mina on a thing in this episode, but she is still in it for the wrong reasons. She clearly wants the status, the money, all these things, and she's just trying to convince Mark to move somewhere else. That's it. They are all wrong. Jordan, too.
I made it pretty clear to him that I'll be very uncomfortable with it if you guys decide to have more babies.
Yes, I made it very clear to him. Now, of course, I said, I think Mina is trying to just continue this on, not because she wants a big family like she says, but because it's more about locking it in. However, that is not Jordan's call. So her saying, I made it very clear to him, like, okay, it's not your call. It's never going to be your call. This is the problem with Mark. He is a coward. He has given both of them too much power and made it seem like he doesn't have any say in the issue. Again, if he's going to marry someone, he needs to have communication. So he needs to be talking to Mina saying, this is that. Jordan, he can talk to his daughter, but confiding in for relationship stuff, probably not the best idea.
I think you're a snake. You don't can.
You think I'm a snake?
Yes.
You're a snake?
You don't have a judgment to just because you think I'm young, I'm coming just for the money, for your dad.
Yeah, well, but you are. I mean, you absolutely are. I don't, it's not about thinking. I mean, I think Jordan has a biased opinion for many reasons, but someone just looking on the outside looking in would say the same. So maybe Jordan's, I wouldn't call her a snake. I think she's like, I think this is what's best, even though it's not her decision. But I also think Mina is in this for the absolute wrong reasons for whatsoever. Like, why is she here? She left her son there and said, oh, it's a passport issue. Any mother is not going to leave their son there. I'm sorry, but you're not. You have other ulterior motives that you're just trying to hide right now. The madness has just begun to heat up as it gets crazy. The thruple chaos continues. Mina and Jordan are almost coming to blows at this point, and Mark can't seem to find a spine. But we will continue to see how all of this just completely unravels into complete and utter madness as the season goes on, because this is only episode 5, so it's going to get even more insane as we go on. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you want to support the channel, drop a super thanks. Y'all are amazing, and I will see y'all next time.